Welcome to the Courage to Be podcast. I am your host, Tanya Vasallo. My dad used to say to us all the time, he still says it occasionally, in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And a couple weeks ago, it was such a reminder to me in the most unexpected way. For weeks, what's been going on is that we've been trying to get the rabies vaccine here in Bali. And just one thing or another, travel, illness, schedule shifts. Then we had the biggest downpour in a decade, it just things kept getting postponed just because I couldn't get us to the clinic up in Ubud. And I was like, oh my God, I have to get this done because my daughter keeps begging me. There's so many, what do you call these? The dogs. There are so many stray dogs and cats and kittens and then the monkeys. There's just so many things that you need to have the rabies. Like that's the one vaccine. You don't want to get bit by a stray animal because it is a life or death situation. And then there's no guarantee of finding the vaccine, the post-vaccine, if you do get bit by one of these stray animals, right? So I saw in one of the group chats that there's this clinic near the school, in our area. And I reached out to it because it occurred to me, I took inspired action. I've talked about this in other episodes. It occurred to me, why don't I see if maybe the clinic is willing to come out to Green School instead of me having to drive the family out to the clinic. In a little bit, it's a selfish way, but also thinking of a win-win situation for them and for us, if I could get them a couple more people or something to make it worthwhile for them. So I messaged the clinic and they said yes, but only if I could get 5 people. So my family is already 3. I was like, okay, that can be pretty easy, right? You get 2 more people, just another family will be fine. And I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And I posted this in the group chats. And there are several group chats of parents in the school. And within hours, then 2 more people signed up. Then another family, people that I didn't even know were reaching out to me. Like I had to get a Google Sheet started because I couldn't keep track of the people reaching out to me. So suddenly what started out as a small selfish idea, for convenience, became this ripple of ease and generosity, honestly. The clinic got a full day of patients and families coming out. So they came out last Thursday, and first I thought it was going to be maybe 10, 15, and we ended up getting 35 people vaccinated. And they were so coordinated. They had like maybe, I think 3 doctors or 2 or 3 doctors and maybe 4 nurses. They had gotten all our information for insurance and our passports and everything. It ran so smoothly. I was amazed. And it's just one of those things that it just made my heart smile. It was one of those days that made me just think of where you feel like the universe is just conspiring with you. And I'm glad that I followed my intuition and I took inspired action. So it just reminds me that sometimes courage isn't always bold. Sometimes it's a simple asking and following our heart or our thoughts. It's something that shows up for you that might sound a little bit crazy. I could have easily stopped myself from that. But the thought for me was there might be an easier way than having to go all the way to the clinic and deal with traffic. And that was the selfish part. I'm like, I don't want to deal with traffic and having to drive anywhere. And I wanted to leave you with just a reflection, a question for you, where are you overcomplicating something that could be easy? Or what idea have you ignored because it seems too simple? And if you've ever had a moment where an intuitive idea has turned into something beautiful, please share with me in Substack or in the YouTube comments. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your story. And until our next episode, remember to always choose courage over comfort. If you loved today's episode, it would mean so much if you rate and review The Courage to Be on Apple Podcast. Not only does it help the show to grow, but it also gets you in the running for something amazing. Every month, I draw 1 lucky winner to receive a complimentary 7-night, 8-day vacation. You'll get to pick from over 3,000 beautiful resorts worldwide. You just cover the taxes and fees like you would with a travel rewards. Airfare is not included. And if you want to double your chances, along with your Apple Podcast review, leave a couple of comments on YouTube. That counts as a second entry. Just send your screenshots to help.thecouragetobe@gmail.com, and you'll find the email in the show notes too. It only takes a moment, and who knows, your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on our next episode of the Courage to Be podcast.